Good evening, good evening. How's everybody doing today on this wonderful Saturday evening? Long time no see. Just been really busy, man. Busy at work, busy around the house, busy trying to get certain vehicles running, stuff like that. So trying to slowly make my way around to getting to certain projects, and I'm making my way there. I think I've had to work on like 7 or 8 vehicles, man, to get them all right. So I'm almost at the point where I can start bringing in the fun projects to do, are like the cars we take to car shows, the racetrack, stuff like that. So I think I'm finally getting around to being able to work on that stuff. As a matter of fact, I got a car that I got to get ready for Carlisle, for Nationals in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. So I got to get that car, I got to get that car started because we got to get it to the paint shop, stuff like that. So it's got a lot of work that's got to be done to it. So I think I'm at the point where I can start working on it now. So let's cross our fingers. So real quick before I get started, just want to let everybody know. I just hope everybody's been having positive days, positive weeks. Let's try to stay positive, be positive, do positive, and get positive results. You never know who's needing that positive energy in their life. We never know what people are going through. So always try to be mindful, man, and stay positive, be positive, do positive, always get positive results. Again, some people out here can use that positive energy in their life. They got a lot going on. They've been through a lot. So a simple, positive comment, a simple little joke, something to make them laugh, something like that, man. Just, that would definitely help them a lot, more than we know, like I said, this world is crazy. So people can use that positive energy, and positive energy is good for you. Laughter is great. It's great for the soul, great for the mind, great for the heart. It's just good. Laughing is great. I love laughing. I love laughing. I love making people laugh. So let's try to stay positive, be positive, do positive, get positive results, and make sure the people around us have positive energy and they get positive energy from us. If that's where it has to come from. So, all right. So enough preaching. So basically, I want to get on here and touch base on something. So I seen a post on FUOA probably a few days ago, and I reached out to the guy. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about fuel pumps and fuel injectors. It's a lot of things that a lot of people miss, little simple factors, and I like to touch on that. That way this gives everybody that does not know, some of you already know this, but this is for the folks that do not know about this type of stuff. They automatically think they need to change a fuel pump or an injector because they've done a small, slight modification, and it's not always the case. Bigger is not always better. That's the thing I've been taught years and years ago. Bigger is not always better. Sometimes smaller is better than bigger. Sometimes smaller outperforms bigger. So just depends on the application, what you have going on in your setup is going to determine what you need more of or less of. So. All right, so let's get to it. So check it out, right? So right here, we have 4 Denso injectors. And here we have a Walbro fuel pump. This is all stuff I had laying around from, stuff I've been collecting over the years, and, parts I was using on my cars when I had like small turbo setups and stuff, something to have fun in the street with and at the track. So basically what I want to touch on is, okay, so a lot of people always think just because they make one small modification, they got to change the fuel pump or they got to change injectors. That's not always the case. The only time you really need to change an injector or a fuel pump is when you're adding a significant amount of power. And I say anywhere from about 50 horsepower and above. That's when I would start looking at, going a size bigger on the injector, stepping up your fuel pump, stuff like that. Now, with that being said, okay, so let's say you did have to change your injectors, right? nobody takes this into consideration. When you swap an injector, you got to understand one thing. So let's say let's take the Escort GT for instance. I believe it has either 210 or 220 cc injector from the factory. Don't quote me on it. It's been a while since I've actually looked at a factory GT Impedance Escort GT Impedance injector. I want to say it's either 210 or 220 cc, something like that, or 230. Might be even 230, but it's a 2 something. I know that much. It's in the 2s. So let's say you have, I'm just going to throw this out there. Let's say you have like a 230 cc injector, right? So your fuel pump is designed to feed those 230 cc injectors. But when you go to a 310, these are 310 cc injectors, right? So once you go to a 310 cc injector, guess what? That fuel pump is not going to be able to feed those injectors. That fuel pump is not designed to run with those size injectors. So now you have to change fuel pump. So there's no point in changing the injectors if you're not going to change the fuel pump to go with it to help feed those injectors, because 9 times out of 10, the stock fuel pump that's in the tank is not going to run these injectors. And I can pretty much guarantee you that anytime you have injectors that are, 100 cc's bigger than a factory injector, the fuel pump is going to be a different size. The fuel pump is actually going to be bigger to run the bigger injectors, rather than just having the same fuel pump, whether it's a 230 cc injector or a 310 cc injector. So definitely take the fuel pump into consideration, man. You might have to change that too, when you change your injectors. 9 times out of 10, if you got like a small turbo setup, if you got like a 310 cc injector or a 360 cc injector, 440 cc injector, 460, 550, and so on, right? So yeah, you're going to definitely want to change your fuel pump. You want to swap your fuel pump out so the fuel pump is going to be compatible and it's going to be able to deliver the fuel that these injectors need. To be, it's basically going to need my tongue's tied. You're basically going to need the fuel pump to be able to feed the injectors that you swap out to. If not, what's going to end up happening is the fuel pump is not going to be able to keep up, and you're going to end up running the engine lean. You don't want to do that. So instead of you having like 310 cc's and you had a stock fuel pump in there, so now you've pretty much cut down the flow rate of what these injectors are designed to do. Because the fuel pump just can't deliver it. And a lot of people just leave small factors like that out. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that, because I get a lot of guys messaging me, and sometimes I'll reach out and try to figure out what people are doing, because you got guys that they'll just change something as simple as doing a cam swap, like an exhaust cam swap or something like that on an Escort GT, and just think automatically, oh man, I need to put these bigger injectors in here so I can get more power. Nope, that's not how it works. If those injectors are not compatible with the setup that you have, it's either going to do one of two things. It's either going to run too lean or it's going to run too rich. 9 times out of 10, when you go with a bigger injector and you don't have no way to, utilize the fuel delivery that these are going to deliver, then 9 times out of 10 it's going to run rich as hell, and it's going to, it's going to rob power. And then what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up washing your cylinders down. And when I say that, when you wash a cylinder down is when you have too much fuel in a cylinder and it washes all the oil off of the cylinder. And now your rings are just basically rubbing up against that dry cylinder, and it wears the rings out. And it also hurts the cylinder over time. So you want to make sure that the fuel setup that you have is compatible with the setup that you are running with. If you do something as simple as a cam swap, something like that, or just a few bolt-ons, there's no need to change the injector. You can do an intake, header, exhaust, cams, intake, header, exhaust, cams, cam gears, port and polish on the head and intake, stuff like that. you still would not have to change the fuel system for that. I mean, you could simply just get you a fuel pressure, an adjustable fuel pressure regulator, and bump up the pressure a little bit to give you a little bit more, a little bit more fuel and a little bit more fuel pressure. But that's about it. You don't really need to do a whole lot as far as swapping out the injectors and stuff like that. So, even if you, like, let's say you were to go with a tunable ECU for that setup, I mean, I highly doubt that those little bit of bolt-ons and stuff like that are going to add a whole lot of power to where you have to change your injectors or your fuel pump. So just be mindful of that. If you guys got questions about this, feel free to reach out to me. I do not mind helping nobody out in this department because I've been here before. I've been here and I've done it and I've learned about it. And this is why I am where I am today, because of what I've learned and what I've had my hands in and what I've actually messed up and blown up and stuff like that, man. Like, so you learn. When you fail, it's a learning curve. It's okay to fail, man. Like, we're all going to fail at something, all throughout life. So when we fail, that's a lesson learned to me. You know what I'm saying? That's a big lesson learned when I fail. I was like, all right, well, why did I fail? And that right there lets you know, okay, why did I fail? Okay, what do I need to do so that won't happen again? And it's like I said, it's like a learning curve. So there's nothing wrong with failing. Nothing wrong with asking questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. The only stupid questions are the ones you don't ask. So, like I tell everybody, if you guys got questions about this stuff, reach out to me. I don't mind walking you through anything. I don't mind helping you with anything. But yeah, I just wanted to basically jump on real quick, man, and let you guys know that you don't always have to change your injectors and your fuel pump when you make a modification to anything, Ford Escort, Honda Civic, wherever it may be. It doesn't always have to require you to have more fuel, because you may not need more fuel at that time. Now, let's say you have turbo, nitrous, or supercharger. Those three power adders are going to require more fuel delivery. And it's going to be more fuel delivery than the factory fuel system is going to be able to give you. On it. We're just speaking now. Now we're just speaking in Ford Escort terms. You got a lot of vehicles out there now that's making 500-600 horsepower on the stock fuel system. You know what I'm saying? But we're talking back in the 90s, man. That wasn't happening. That wasn't happening. You'd have a blown engine before you got that far. So yeah, mainly on the Ford Escorts, man. When you go turbo, nitrous, or supercharger, you're not going to be able to use the stock fuel system. You're going to have to upgrade your fuel injectors, and you have to upgrade your fuel pump. So yeah. But anything NA, naturally aspirated, I mean, heck, man, I was making 160 wheel horsepower with a 1.9. I had a camshaft, ported head, ported intake. All my stuff was match ported. I had a valve job done. I was running stock 9-to-1 compression ratio, cold air intake, header, custom exhaust, all that stuff. And I was still running the stock fuel system. So, I mean, it was like a low 15 second car, but I was still running the stock fuel system, man. I didn't have no fuel upgrades. The only thing I did was I upgraded the fuel pump. Not fuel pump, I'm sorry. I upgraded the fuel pressure regulator to an adjustable, and I had a pressure gauge on it so I could see, and I bumped the pressure up like maybe 10, 15 more, 10 or 15 more pounds over stock, So, I mean, but I wasn't like, I didn't go crazy with it or nothing like that. So yeah, I just want to jump on, man, and just touch on that real quick, man. Give everybody an idea of, fuel systems and stuff and how they work and stuff like that, man. So, you don't want to put too big of an injector in your car. That's going to hurt you more than anything, especially if you can't utilize the fuel flow that these injectors or fuel pump are going to deliver for your setup. I mean, you don't want to put, like a 550, a 450 LPH fuel pump in your car with a set of 550 injectors, and you got, and this is speaking specifically to the Escort community, the Escort world. You don't want to put a 450 lph fuel pump in your Escort and then turn around and have a set of 550 injectors in there and you only got a header intake and exhaust. Like that's pointless. Your car's gonna run rich as hell. You know, you can try to, you know, adjust the vane and stuff to back it down and stuff like that, but I mean, you know, it's just, the car's just not gonna run healthy at all. So best thing to do, if you have a bunch of bolt-ons and stuff like that, man, that don't require no forced induction and stuff like that, best thing to do, man, is just hang out and stick with the stock fuel system. You know, because you can do small things to the stock fuel system. Like I said, you can just get you adjustable pressure regulator, you know, for the fuel rail and just bump your pressure up a little bit to give you a little bit more fuel. But to be open and honest with everybody, I do that anyway. Why did I even say that? but to be open and honest anyway, and to basically let you guys know this. Technically speaking, what you guys really need to do is, if you're going to do anything like this, a dyno is your friend. If you have a dyno, you know, go to that dyno and see if you can get some, you know, dyno time. That way, when you do install different injectors, a different fuel pump, or even if you're still on the stock fuel system and you got some bolt-ons and you want to see what's the most power you can get out of them, a dyno is where you need to be, man. Like, trying to do it by the seat of your pants, especially if you don't have a whole lot of experience in it, I don't recommend it. Find somebody with a dyno and that knows what they're doing before you know, waste your money and destroy an engine. So you know, that's the advice I give everybody, man. Just, you know, try to avoid spending unnecessary money and try to avoid hurting an engine. You know, small stuff like this can cause engine damage. Definitely can cause you to spend, you know, unnecessary money. You know, injectors ain't cheap these days. Fuel pumps ain't cheap these days. So yeah, man, just wanted to, again, I know I've repeated this 1,000 times or more, but I just wanted to get on real quick, man, and just let you guys know about these fuel injectors, the fuel pumps and stuff, and when it's really necessary to change the stuff out and when it's not. Now, real quick, so you see that injector, right? So that injector looks just like this injector, correct? Those two injectors look just alike, don't they? Well, guess what? Both of these injectors have different flow rates. So don't ever look at an injector and figure it's the same because they look the same. They have the same plug. You know, don't ever assume that. Find out. And how do you find out what size injector you have? This is what you do, right? So there's a number. There's a part number, and I'm going to get on here. I don't know how good this camera's going to pick this up. But it's a part number. Oh, that light's kind of bright. Anyway, so there's a part number right here on this injector, right? You'll be able to read it. You get you a good light and clean this area off right here. Don't use nothing aggressive. Don't use like a wire brush or nothing like that. Just get you like some brake clean and a good rag and just wipe that little section right here. It's a squared off section on the side of the injectors right here. It's a squared off section and it has the part number to this injector. And when you look that part number up, that part number will tell you what injector you have. It'll tell you, I believe it'll tell you the size. It'll tell you the size of the injector, flow rate, and I believe the impedance as well. So if you have a question about that, feel free to reach out to me. You guys, I can walk you through that and help you look up, you know, these injectors and stuff by the part number. You got like a part number right here on the side. This is an Impedance injector, and this the part number is going to start with 195500-1672 or something like that. So, so the Impedance injectors are going to start with 195500. So yeah, don't ask me how I remember that. but yeah, so just look on, like I said, and get a little closer. So just look on this little flat tab here. And this flat tab will have some part numbers, you know, on it. And then you just look those part numbers up, and it'll tell you about the injector that you have. That's what I used to do in the junkyard all the time. I would pull injectors out of turbo cars, and I wasn't sure what size they were. I would look up the part numbers. Also, fuel pumps. Fuel pumps have part numbers. See those numbers here? You know, see this. You know, this is a Walbro fuel pump. So of course Walbro has part numbers, so you'll be able to look up, and there's a Walbro sign right there, and you'll be able to look up those part numbers and tell what size fuel pump this is. Like this is a 190 LPH. That's an old fuel pump I had in one of my old turbo setups. Surprised I still got that freaking fuel pump. But so yeah, that's a 190 LPH fuel pump, and these are 310 cc injectors. But yeah, so definitely there's part numbers on the injectors, there's part numbers on the fuel pumps. Look them up, man. Use them. That right there will tell you what you have, instead of trying to like guess, or somebody say, hey man, these are this injector, or hey man, Jeffrey said that these injectors were 290 cc, or well, no man, because Tim said they were 500 cc. So the only way to kill all that, man, is to look up the part number that's on the side of the injector right here, and look up your part number that's on your fuel pump too. One more thing before I hop off, right? So, another thing that you guys need to be aware of is you got to make sure that the injector is the correct impedance for your ECU. If it is not, you will potentially damage your computer. You will potentially damage your ECU if you do not have the correct impedance for your ECU. So the way you check your impedance, right? I'm going to take this injector for instance. There's two prongs in there. See those two prongs? All right, those two prongs you take and you run your ohm meter across those two prongs, and it'll let you know what the impedance is. High impedance goes anywhere from, if I can remember, I want to say about 10 to 15. And then low impedance is anywhere from like anything, I believe it was anything under 8. Anything under 8 was considered low impedance. So like, 4, 5, 6, something like that. I've seen some injectors that were like 7. I've seen some that were like 6, some 5. So it just depends, it just depends on the injector coil. But yeah, man, always check your impedance for your injector. Whatever injector you decide to run, so this is a Bosch injector. So whatever impedance your ECU is, so like let's say your ECU uses high impedance injectors, you'll check this, and if you got anything like over 10, that's a high impedance injector. Or what you could do, to keep the guessing game out of it, you can just pull the injector out of your car and see what that injector measures as far as impedance, and then compare it to the injector that you're getting ready to put in, and that'll tell you everything. So, if you got a voltmeter, and if you don't have one, invest in one. Get you a nice voltmeter, man, and then check your impedance across these two prongs right here, and it'll give you a reading. It'll give you an ohm reading. So yeah, definitely do that, and just make sure you got the correct impedance for the ECU that you have. Because like I said, if you don't, you can damage the computer big time. Another thing, so I want to show you guys this too. So, well, cool. Okay, so the difference is, that's a Bosch injector, right? It's got the square, how you say it? It's got the square female, I can't even, I'm always trying to look at technical words to use, but the Bosch injector is the square terminal style, right? The Denso is more like the oval style plug. So a lot of guys get confused because they get Denso injectors, and I was like, why does the Denso injector have Bosch plugs? Well, some of them were like that from the factory, whether it be a Ford, a Mazda, or what have you. But some Mazdas had Denso injectors, and they had this style plug, and this style plug right here. Some Mazdas had Denso injectors, and they had that style plug, which is a Bosch. So that's a Bosch, because remember, the Bosch got the square plug, and then the Denso's got more like the oval shaped plug. And this is a Denso. These are Denso injectors too, but this is a Denso injector with a Bosch style plug. It's got the square head on it. So, like I said, I mean, some of them come like that, some of them come like this. Come like that, come like this. So, it could come either way. So, but just make sure you got the correct plug for the correct whatever injector you have. So now, mind you, the one on the right side is a Bosch injector, but you can still have Denso injectors with that square Bosch plug as well. So just wanted to share that with you guys, man. I hope this was very helpful. If you feel like I missed anything, or you still got questions, or you still don't understand, please feel free to reach out to me, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'll be more than happy to help you guys out. If you guys need any type of assistance, if you change the injectors, or if you have a question, hey man, is it going to be worth it for me to change the injectors for this little bit of stuff I have done? You know, blah, blah, blah. So thanks guys for tuning in. I appreciate y'all, and glad to be able to make another video. It's been a while. I know, like I said, I've been busy. So, and also been doing a lot of live streams. So if you guys see me doing a live stream, feel free to hop on, you know, and just come hang out, man. Have a good time and talk, and we'll talk about cars, joke, laugh, whatever. So yeah, man. So again, thanks everybody for tuning in, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of live streams, so if you guys see me on live, feel free to hop on, man, hang out, talk, ask questions, whatever you want to do. I'm here for that. So thanks guys again. I appreciate all of y'all. Like I said, I hope this video was very helpful. Hope it was very detailed. Like I said, if anybody still got any questions you don't understand, just feel free to reach out to me, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. All right, catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.